Often when people first encounter type, there is some discomfort with the idea that one's psych type is innate. Jung observed that no child is born tabula rasa, or blank slate. That is, each of us is born with a predisposition, a particular perspective on the world. Your psych type is like gender. It is with you for life. Clearly, no two human beings are identical, even those that share the same personality type, but a wealth of research supports the continuity of type throughout life. So how does nurture affect our nature, or psych type? And how do we reconcile the common complaint, but I know that in my life I've changed? Many people who make this claim are unaware that the perceived changes are entirely consistent with type theory. You see, Psyche-Type and Gender are lifelong, consistent dichotomies. Both remain with us for life, but undergo a series of fairly well understood developments. Just as our bodies grow and mature throughout life, our Psyche-Type preferences also develop to maturity over time. Perhaps the only known exceptions are near-death experience, explored in our Psyche-Type and Dharma course. For all intent and purpose, your gender and Psyche-Type are with you for life. Highly regarded Psyche-Type theorist Harold Grant presents the following basic model of type development. 0 to 6 years, we experiment with all functions. At this age, we really don't have much awareness of ego, ourselves as individuals. 6 to 12 years, the dominant function develops. This is our most preferred function that provides the foundation for the entire personality. 12 to 21 years, the auxiliary function develops, adding balance to the dominant. 21 to 35 years, the tertiary or child function emerges, though other theorists like John Beebe have observed that the child function is unusual and often emerges out of sequence. 35 to 50 years, the inferior function emerges to be mastered. The arising of each function brings with it different awarenesses and understandings, so that from a rather narrow worldview as children, we gradually gain a more holistic appreciation through the development and use of our other faculties. Those who prefer the world of intuitive concepts and ideas become more grounded through the development of their complementary sensing function. Those who see the world through the lens of people values, feeling, learn to refer to their logical thinking values as well, and so on. Within this basic framework of development, there is lots of individual variation, as the development of our innate personality preferences is shaped by the environment we grow up in. This can either encourage or discourage the expression of our true nature, and includes such factors as gender roles, culture, family expectations, and individual circumstances. For example, the gender roles of my culture and many others often consider T values masculine and F values feminine. These gender roles are socially constructed. That is, whether we use thinking or feeling has nothing to do with being male or female. However, as an INTJ growing up, I was certainly aware of being regarded as a very unusual sort of girl. As a woman who uses extroverted thinking, I knew that many found an analytical mind in female form somewhat confronting. Similarly, I've known many men who have a feeling preference to report being chided as wussy or told to man up or don't be a sissy, when they were simply gently expressing a natural concern for others. Obviously, this sort of stereotyping or cultural expectation can have a powerful effect on children who are still carving out their own identity while looking for validation from their parents and elders. Interestingly, in my work, bogus indicator results are common amongst F men and T women who straddle the gender divide. T women will often identify as feeling, having learned this is more socially acceptable for their gender, whilst many F men may report a preference for thinking because they've learned to fit in by putting on a more hard-headed facade. One of the best examples of how culture can affect the expression of type is found in societies that bias either introversion or extroversion. In cultures given to extroversion, such as the United States, introverts are often seen as lacking confidence and encouraged to be more outgoing. Yet many Asian cultures, like Korea, shun extroversion, which is seen as inappropriate or attention-seeking. Within families, there is no guarantee that children will be psychologically similar or even compatible with their parents. And like culture, often even parents and caregivers can unwittingly impose their own type values upon their children, crushing their innate nature. In an ideal scenario, our family would support and encourage our natural gifts. But when family values different to our own are ignorantly imposed, it can also cause us to doubt and mistrust our own preferences. For example, many NJs with guardian or SJ parents never become wholly comfortable with their introverted intuition, often crushed by the rules that introverted senses value, but that introverted intuition simply doesn't understand. Sadly, this is often nothing more than an innocent lack of knowledge on the part of parents who want the best for their children, imagining their kids are mini versions of themselves. This highlights why a knowledge of personality diversity can really empower parents, enabling them to support their children's gifts, raise confident and happy young adults. Individual circumstances that may shape type development can be things like childhood trauma, a sudden change in family life where a young person must take on increased responsibility, for example, may compel a child to develop their lesser preferred functions earlier, particularly if these are a survival necessity. These are a few examples of how environmental factors may influence the development and expression of an individual's innate preferences. So your psych type is with you for life, but this shouldn't be seen as limiting or deterministic. It is just a starting point, affording gifts and challenges. Psych type doesn't supplant individuality. It complements it and grows with you. People of the same type share a particular approach to the world, just as men do with other men and women with other women. But none of us are cookie-cutter clones. Who we are as individuals is shaped by our environment, and we are all a combination of our innate values as well as those we learn and those we choose. If you're aware of environmental factors that affected the development of your preferences during childhood, please share them below. Learn Psyche-Type. It will change your life.